We have reached the final episode of this series. One thing you'll notice early on is I have an open conversation with the players about how we want the final scenes of our session to proceed. After you've had some really great sessions, the scariest thing is sticking the landing at the end. You want to make sure everyone has a chance to finish the story they were interested in telling. Having a conversation before the last session or before the last few scenes about what we want to try to get done in the story is a great way of making sure you are successful. Also, epilogue. It's impossible to hit every beat and resolve every loose thread. Give your players a chance to epilogue at the end so they can get some closure, ending their journey with these characters in a satisfying way. We hope you've enjoyed this series of pocket-sized play. I'd like to say thanks to the players, David Lafreniere, who played Thrawn, our patrol captain, Fraser Simons, who played Bart, our intrepid scout, Christo Meade, who played Thistle, our energetic herbalist, Stephen Watkins, who played Fergus, our grizzled vet, and River Williamson, who played Kelsey, our tenderpaw. And an extra special thanks to Fraser, who did the editing on these episodes, as well as our Patreon supporters, without whom we would not be able to create things like this. If you'd like to become a patron yourself, just go to patreon.com/gauntlet. Enjoy.
Leaving that paw print.
A smear of red. It's a good symbolic gesture for where your patrol is gone.
I tell Kelsey, never trust a weasel. You've done well gathering this mob.
You guys can just go ahead and do like quick recuperate rolls. We'll just assume you're getting help back at Elmos for your injuries. If you're getting help from Thistle, you get a little bonus, right, Thistle?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, if you get a miss, it counts as a 7 to 9.
Got it. Okay. So you roll focus to heal injured.
I got a 7.
Okay.
And I got a 13.
Okay. All right.
So I can add 1 to the warden pool.
Are you going to do that? I don't know if you have a second condition to remove. Sounds good. So that puts you at 1 because you guys were at 0 on that. Barth, you're just cleared of your injury.
Yep.
I guess I'll just leave it up to you guys. What are you more interested in here in the finale? Like the journey to Sprucetuck or like the activity at Sprucetuck?
So the thing that I mentioned, the scene that I wanted at the beginning of the game, can be handled via an epilogue.
Mm-hmm.
So this could be done either way. So I don't have a strong preference.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm more interested in like following our characters' threads here than like just, we can montage the actual like Sprucetuck stuff. That's kind of the way I'm.
So you're interested in getting the Sprucetuck and then maybe we just montage or epilogue Sprucetuck. Is that kind of the thinking? Okay. That seems reasonable to me. So.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I did promise you guys a roll too for the journey. So set out into the wilds. All right. Are you guys just going to take your normal jobs? Or are you going to mix it up a little bit or what? Give Kelsey a chance to show off her skills?
Kelsey, didn't Kelsey do the role last time?
Mm-hmm,
maybe she did, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it'll be the same skink placements. You guys make the call on who's taking head and not.
I like the idea of Kelsey rolling because maybe it would be kind of neat to flip the dynamic from before. Maybe Kelsey's like taking care of me because it's like in the process of me still healing up or something.
Yeah, that's good. And you're also just maybe in kind of a foul mood, right? Like maybe you're just not really like mechanically marked angry, but I could see a situation where Barth is just kind of like you'd feel a little despondent, or like I'm just fucking
despondent.
over it. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So Kelsey would be trailblazing instead of me, I think.
Okay. I'm lookout.
And I'm navigator.
I got a 4.
A 4, awesome.
I got snake eyes, and then my courage gave me a +2, and that's not distraction is bleeding over to me.
Fergus, what'd you end up with?
12.
12, sweet. You can add 1 to the guard pool. And what'd you end up with, Ren?
Okay, I got a 7.
And we have a miss on the table. On a miss, you blundered right into danger. Brace yourselves. And on 79, you have a hard time keeping up. The MC will tell you how that affects your journey. Okay, so I think I'm gonna kind of roll into your 7 result on lookout I'm gonna kind of roll that into what happens to Kelsey. Okay, so I think it's a problem of being caught by surprise. All right, Kelsey. Kelsey, are you out like trailblazing ahead of the group by yourself, or do you have somebody with you?
Same skink setup. So I think it's me and Barth, and yeah,
okay.
I'm like forging ahead and all that sort of jazz.
You hear like From like just the side of the trail where you guys are at, Barth and Kelsey, it's just the two of you. You hear like a little like yelping or chirping, like that, like a small animal. I can't really do it, but it sounds a little bit like a sort of squeaky yelp that an animal would make. What do you guys do?
I think we have to know what it is. We have any trees around this area? I'll try to get some.
There's some cover. It's fine.
I'll take the skink up a tree and look down at what's going on here.
Go ahead and get your bearings. Wisdom.
Oh, got that one. 12.
All right, S2.
What happened here recently?
There's like a little hole dug into the ground. You can see that the hole is actually like a nest. It's a nest of some animal, and its young is in that hole.
What should I be on the lookout for?
You should be on the lookout for the mother of these baby animals.
But do I have any idea of what species they are?
Barth, you will see a few sort of strands of red fur stuck in the twigs and in the and kind of on the ground.
Uh-oh. I'll use my instincts.
Sure. Yeah, go for
See
it.
if it's a fox.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, roll nature.
Be usually wrong about these things. Yeah, I do really well. 14.
Okay, awesome. I will, on a hit, you learn something new and useful about your current situation. You take +1 forward to acting on it. Yeah, these are two like very, very, there are a couple of like very, very young fox cubs, kits, I don't know what the baby foxes are called, inside this little hole, like maybe brand new. Almost certainly the mother is out like, trying to get food to bring back to them.
Man, this is kind of cold-hearted, but I think started a fire here because that way the young would like die and the fox returning might get burned up in the process because we can't fight a fox anyway, right? So instead lay a trap like that for it.
So you're gonna drop fire down into the hole, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like make little fire bombs of grass or something like that and toss them in.
Okay. And it should be fairly contained because there's still enough like snowdrift around so that you can kind of keep it somewhat localized, right? So that makes sense. Maybe do something dangerous?
Yeah, I think so. 8.
8. All right. On a 7-9, it's going to cost you. The MC will offer you a worse outcome or a hard choice. Oh, I know. So give me the like going up to the fire and dropping the fire in. Like, how do you guys go about this?
I explain to Kelsey what I'm doing, but I think I take like some brush and sort of like weave it together, and then I put it on fire with some like flint against some stone, and then as it lights, then we toss them in like bombs, and then we also start a fire at the entrance so they feel like they don't know where they can go, kind of thing. And I say that we have to be quick though, because the mother is returning and she'll kill us for sure. We're no match for any kind of fox.
Done this, the fire is starting, and you guys are getting ready to get out of Dodge. You see that one of the little baby foxes has managed to crawl out of the hole. It's very small. It's barely just a little bit bigger than you guys, right? Like it's no danger to you at all. And its fur is still, it's not even like red. It's like kind of just a slick and sort of like downy gray, and you can see it like crawling out of the hole, like desperately trying to get away. What do?
We're still up in the tree, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's where we drop the fire bombs down.
You can be wherever you wish, doesn't matter.
Okay. I'm gonna say, I'll handle that one. Keep lookout, okay? Quickly make my way down the tree and coup de grace the little foxling.
Okay. You can otherwise leave and get out of there before the mother comes back and proceed along your way on your journey.
Do we hear like the mother fox come back and stuff?
You probably don't hang around long enough for that, right? I'm sure she will, but
yeah, we probably want to be long gone.
even if the mother fox doesn't get caught up in it, you've at least stopped a future generation of foxes, right? Which is good for the territories.
I think that was worse than the weasels.
Other animals are essentially like it's just a sort of neutral, in a sense, sort of disposition with the guard. Like they do their thing and we kill them because we don't want them to kill us. But the weasels are like actively hateful, right? So
Yeah.
let's go to Sprucetuck. So Sprucetuck is this is your home, Thrawn. This is where you were raised. And I'll remind you all that Sprucetuck is the scientific capital of the territories. The most important product that they make are the pots of scent principally the guard uses to protect the scent border. Although there are small territories like, they're near the borders that kind of like keep their own reserves of it or whatever and refresh it, kind of when needed. It's inside these spruce trees. They basically hollow out the trees and create these like just levels, pulleys and different things. So you can they're essentially like little elevators up to each level. Each level contains like homes and apartments and things like that. It's almost like a tower, imagine like a sort of futuristic vertical tower dwelling, right? Like it's like that, but the mouse guard version of it.
Mouse punk dwelling.
Mouse punk, yeah, it's very mouse punk. You guys arrive in Sprucetuck. You got 2 orders of business. The first is you need to secure, negotiate, and get more scent from the people who control that. And Ambrose, the governor of Sprucetuck, is like demanding like a higher price. And Fergus is going to take care of that little problem for the future. I'll just go around the table and poll you guys. What do you guys do when you first arrive in Sprucetuck? We'll start with Thrawn.
All about business, but it would be impolite to not like see my family since I'm here.
Okay.
Especially because they gave me this compound that ended up working out with skink back riding. So I want to show them.
I'm sure they're even aware of it. They probably come down to greet you, right? They've already heard that like a guard patrol has arrived on the back of lizards, and this is very exciting. What about you, Thistle?
Thistle had made a saddle out of his mom's blanket. So to make the ride a little more comfortable and get use out of the blanket. But so Thistle, I believe the original thing was that Thistle was collecting ingredients to deliver here also.
Right, yeah, you were. That's right.
So that would be where he would stop off to deliver the ingredients I collected.
Perfect. Kelsey, what about you?
I'm going to keep Fergus from going off on his own and ask him about that thing. Pretense of, I think you deserve a break. I know that there's, spas and things here. We've had a long ride. Let Thran do his negotiation for a bit. My plan is basically this, to get him nice and relaxed and then use his own staff to pin him to a massage table and be like, so what the fuck with that letter?
So Fergus, during this interaction, was looking really tired, but when you mentioned, going to a spa and resting and relaxing, that sounds, really good to him.
Yeah, Sprucetuck probably has all kinds of sort of herbal enhanced, spa things or whatever,
So first he turns to Thrawn and makes sure that no help is needed to negotiate for the scent. And if his help isn't needed, then he'll go along with Kels. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be all right. You can proceed.
Bart, what about you?
I want to send word to Lockhaven that I'm going to give Kelsey her cloak.
Nice.
And my plan actually, I don't know if it fits with what River wanted with Kelsey, but my plan is to give Kelsey my cloak, actually, and then have a different color cloak because I've changed.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. I think my cloak right now is pretty light blue, and it'll become the darkest blue, right? Like a little jaded blue.
Thrawn, your parents are very excited. Argyle and Petunia. And they come down and they're like, they say, Thrawn, and they're so happy to see you, and your mother comes up and, she sees that you're on these lizards and she's like, look at this. This is incredible. She says, son, did you use our compound? Is that how you've managed to get these beasts to obey your commands?
Yeah, I recount the whole tale and explain how we managed to maneuver the skinks once they're tamed.
That's brilliant, your father says. He's like, that's very, very, I can tell you're a son of ours. That shows real innovative sort of thinking. It's excellent, son. And they're doing their thing and they're marveling at the lizards. And they just think it's really great.
So yeah, I think, we'll have probably that's where we'll be staying. Probably, I think they're prominent members of this community.
They're big deal scientists, yeah.
And I explain this is going to help the guard in the future, that these lizards move so fast and can move on trees and do all kinds of things. It's probably going to revolutionize the way that the guard operates. I'll just try and get the skinny on Ambrose from them.
Indeed, yeah. They definitely disagree with Ambrose's position. They don't like that Ambrose is trying to basically extort Lockhaven over the scent, right? They think that Ambrose is, most people in Sprucetuck, most of the mice in Sprucetuck, they help Lockhaven, they make the scent because they feel like it's the best thing for the territories. And they also just are interested in the exploration of it, the discovery, the science of Sprucetuck, right? But Ambrose is really, really like, he's all about like, how do we turn this into profit? That's kind of his whole thing. And according to Gwendolyn, Lockhaven thinks it's a problem, of course. And Ambrose is starting to reach people. Like, it's starting to be a thing where people who before were just like really committed to science are starting to think a little bit more about money.
So I think that I'm just like, we've kind of caused a commotion by arriving in the fashion that we have.
Right.
It's a scientific community, and this is a pretty cool thing. I think I'm just going to like call out Ambrose in front of everyone and trying to shame him for not being like a part of the community and in the interest of science and like all of that stuff, and how he needs to hand over the scent.
Indeed. You're not even going to pay anything. You're not going to agree to any payment, just demand it, right?
Yeah, this is an order from the capital.
Well, we'll get to that in a moment. Let's go to Fergus and Kelsey.
Basically, I think the way that this goes is we go to this nice spa, and we take a nice steam, and while Fergus is kind of undressing, you see all these kind of like little scar areas and old war wounds, and he drops his pack, and a letter, not unlike what you saw before, kind of falls out, and he doesn't notice, and he heads on into the steam room.
Oh, I'm absolutely reading it.
Actually, so this is like a bundle, and you open it up, and inside there's a letter that's addressed to Thistle and a letter that's addressed to Pumpkin, and they're both sealed with wax. So you would have to crack the seal in order to read them.
So a letter to Thistle, like your patrol guard member, Thistle?
Yeah.
Okay, and then one to Pumpkin back in Lockhaven.
That's right.
Okay. Do you break the seal, Kelsey, on either of them?
No, I don't think I have a good way to reseal that here. That's kind of their whole purpose. But I think, since I have their destination known, I will ask them about it after he gets nice and relaxed.
Let's have that scene.
Yeah, so basically Fergus is just all relaxed, like I picture him on a table or something, just, laying out in the sun.
Yeah, and I'm this is after we've been like steamed and dusted and all that sort of fun stuff, and we're both just sort of like relaxing, and I look over and I say, so what's with those letters, Fergus?
The letters are none of your business, young one.
I know, I understand. Sealed with wax and everything like that, but you seem like someone who's trying to get his final affairs in order.
Have you been snooping around? Because you know an awful lot about these letters, but you're not naive or stupid.
And I think this is where I'll roll.
Okay.
What's your leverage? Like, what are you using as your leverage to get him to tell you?
My leverage is, I just sort of like sigh and I turn to him and I say, we're communal creatures. Being out on the road with you and Thrawn and Barth and even Thistle from time to time, I've started to, really appreciate that there's only so much that we can accomplish on our own. I don't know if it was always this way, but you've picked a very lonely road for yourself, and I don't want that for anyone on the patrol. I don't want that for anyone that I'm friends with.
Go ahead and roll.
I got a 5.
So basically what I'll say is that you'll understand whenever you're older, but I had a lot of friends. I've had a lot of friends over time. I've seen many of them go, some of them too young during the war, some of them as they've aged, and as you mature, what the costs of aging are.
Are you being a little condescending toward Kelsey about this? Like, oh, you'll get it when you're older. Okay, yeah. I think
well, not intentionally, but
sure,
I think it definitely comes across that way.
Yeah, I'm gonna mark you angry because you've kind of like opened up and approached Fergus in what you perceive to be like a very like caring way, and Fergus is just like is just doing when you grow up thing again, which always probably gets under your fur, right?
Then this is perfect. Then I'm just gonna get up and I say, well, I suppose that's your road. You don't want the letter from Genevieve then, who is my grandmother and like a old friend of Fergus's.
A letter that you have? I'm confused.
No, we're not sharing, so I go.
Okay.
That feels like a good place to cut the scene. Thrawn, what are you calling out Ambrose? What do you say?
I think he's like standing up on like on a second tier, but I'm on the back of the skink, so we're like kind of eye level, and kind of above the crowd that's like milling around looking at the lizards. Ambrose, I understand that that you have our scent ready. We need to move it with all haste.
He says, I'm sorry I didn't catch your name.
Captain Thran.
Captain Thran from Lockhaven. Yes, we have sent reserves, but we have already sent like the season's supply to Lockhaven. I don't understand why you are here requesting more.
And what was the deal with that? I thought that we didn't get it.
They were sabotaged.
It was sabotaged.
Yeah, the pots were smashed in Lockhaven.
We have definitely communicated with you on this matter before that the scent was sabotaged.
Yes, perhaps you have, but we did our end by supplying scent to you before, and now here you come with your paws open, requesting more. This sounds like I fear Lockhaven's going to have to pay.
I fear you may just be cut out of the ring of the scent that we have remaining if you don't want to supply us with the requisite amount.
Are you suggesting that you will purposely not pour the border in order to protect Sprucetuck?
Are you suggesting that you will purposefully extort your brother Mouse?
Roll convince.
And that's going to be a 10.
Just go a little harder in there. I think like everyone is like, like kind of, it's like hubbub, right? Because you're essentially you're essentially threatening Sprucetuck, right?
Yeah. I like get my skink to clamber forward so I'm closer to him. Probably people who are close by can hear, but not everyone can hear. I'm like, don't make us your enemy, Ambrose. It can go worse for you, but this town will always be part of our empire.
I'll supply your scent, Thrawn, White Cloak. Think that this means I am going to not continue negotiations with Lockhaven. I will make sure that Sprucetuck is well compensated in the future for what we give you now. And so he agrees to it, but he's basically like just leaving the threat open that like he's not done like milking Gwendolyn, right? Like in the future.
Yeah, I just like get my skink to turn around and clamber away from him. It's like, whatever. You give us the product. We're not can keep trying to ask for money. Yeah.
Thistle, you could totally drop off your stuff. I think that's great. If you want a scene out of that, if you had something in mind,
we could sort of montage it. All I was sort of thinking of is perhaps what Thistle is actually bringing here is certain specialized military grade of ingredients, if you will, that they need in order to make the scent, and that these are government provided basically. And so Thistle can be hinting to the people that he's dropping it off with, or basically outright saying, if this keeps going, you may not have these guaranteed supplies. Gwendolyn could start financing another place to start processing this and making it.
Most of Sprucetuck they mostly disagree with Ambrose's position here, right? I mean, he's making inroads and he's definitely like starting to turn the tide a little, but it is what it is. I think I'd like to do I'd like to do Fergus's epilogue in two parts. I'd like to start with like Fergus, how you cope with Ambrose, and then we'll circle back to you for like your final outcome. Okay?
Yeah. Took a move called Legend in Your Own Time. And what this is when you meet someone important, this would be Ambrose. I roll, and on a hit, they've heard of your exploits and give you comfort, respect, or aid, or take ongoing, blah, blah, blah.
We can just keep it in the fiction if you'd like to.
Exactly. So I think what this is I think Ambrose sees an advantage to getting the veterans of the war on his side. We meet, I express an interest and say, I have a gift for you. How about we meet at dinner tonight? And he's excited about this potential boon. And whenever we meet for dinner, I pull out the bottle of mead that we have, and basically I pour him a glass and I pour myself a glass and I start talking to him. It doesn't go well, and he seems reluctant to drink something strange, probably. And I think this would be the equivalent of a convince them roll. In order for him to think everything's safe, I drink as well.
Oh.
Yeah. So okay. I think that what we see is basically the two of them sharing a meal. He drinks, I drink. I refill the glasses, and then at the end of the evening, we see kind of the empty bottle, the glass is tipped over, and both of us slumped on the table.
Oh, okay. All right, that's grim. I like it though. Bart, what about you?
So I think after maybe we hear about Fergus's demise, right? We'll go to like the pub or bar or whatever there, and we'll share like a pint and tell stories about Fergus and stuff like that to honor his memory.
Reenacting his moves.
Yeah.
His sweet stick executions.
Exactly, yeah. And that's when I'll tell her that she's definitely getting her cloak, and I would be honored if she got my old one, because I think that she's everything that I used to be and more, and I pray that she doesn't lose a part of herself as I did, kind of thing.
Nice. Well, let's just go, Kelsey. Like, how do you want to epilogue?
I think that there's a scene where I don't know who the cloaks go back to if a guard dies. I imagine it's like next of kin.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. Yeah.
So I imagine going back to my home, and there was no letter from Genevieve.
Right. Yeah. That was just you being a jerk. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a moment where I hand her Fergus's cloak because she's like the last member that's alive of that squad, and she sort of like lowers her head and like she takes me back to chest, and she puts cloak in there, and there's like 6 others in there. She touches my cloak and just says, "Make sure this stays on you, Warden." And she closes the trunk, and that's like the epilogue.
Thistle, you ready? Should I move the throne?
Yeah, sure. Question. So I assume at this point the letter would have been delivered?
Oh, that's right. He sent a letter to you. Yeah, that's right. He did.
Basically, you cracked the wax. Basically, included is a letter of recommendation to your father about how brave you are and how helpful you were on the trip. This letter of recommendation holds a certain weight among the aging veterans of the war in the territories. So this would be kind of the influence that Ambrose was looking for.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because like the veterans of the Weasel War, like you guys have a lot of like sort of social prominence and stuff, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense. What's the Thrawn?
Yeah, I think it's just updating the logbook. So, since successfully acquired 4 weasels slain, and I mark each of their thumbprints underneath that. Fox Den destroyed. Tenderpaw has graduated and given cloak. Unfortunate regret. Veteran Fergus has been poisoned. Secondary casualty Ambrose.
So are you acknowledging the poison, or is this just, or was this being? I kind of thought maybe this was being swept under the rug a little bit.
Oh no, I think it was obvious. Like,
okay, like they just like killed because they were both found dead at in the dining room together, right? Yeah.
We're in a scientific community, like they would have known.
Right,
But I'm just calling it out as like
they both had heart attacks at the exact same time over dinner.
Yeah. No, Fergus. I call out Fergus was poisoned, and a secondary casualty was Ambrose. No, yeah, I think it's just like exemplary statuses all around.
Yeah, all around. Good. All right. Well, Thistle, do you want anything else before we
Thistle will just, I think, read the letter, and a tear will come down, and he'll snivel a little bit, and pop under his nose.
Well, Fergus, is there anything else? Do you want to epilogue, like any of the aftermath of what you did, or anything like that? Or
yeah.
Good to go?
So the letter to Pumpkin goes back with the rest of the guard back to Lockhaven.
Mm-hmm.
And there are, back in Lockhaven, there are letters waiting for the rest of them whenever Fergus doesn't return. And basically, Thrawn receives a letter that says that whenever you open it up, you crack the wax seal and kind of pour out the contents, there's a medal in there. And it's like a paw print with some ribbon and stuff. And it's a Medal of Honor from the Weasel War. And the letter states that you would have deserved it if you'd been there. The letter that goes to Bartholomew is an old map from my adventures beyond the Scent border, where it is today, like where Dark Feather and Walnut Pack and that kind of stuff, where those are. And basically it has many wonderful places full of adventure in it. The letter that goes to Kelsey outfalls a cloak clasp that's old and worn and tarnished, but it's one of the bodyguards from the matriarch. They usually wear these as an honor kind of thing. A cloak clasp for exceptional service. And then there's also a letter for the matriarch and a letter for Pumpkin. The letter for Pumpkin, he shares that it's a love poem between he and his love that basically inspires them towards taking risks and being courageous. They're all signed, it's not what you fight, it's what you fight for.